for
This
the
conference
Montezuma
will now be recorded.
Regional Planning Commission for Thursday, October 6, 2022, to order at 7:04 p.m. First item on the agenda is introductions. And what I usually do is I read the list of people that I have here uh, as far as participants. But it seems I do not have everybody here because it shows 19 participants and I only show up 13 on my screen. So what I will be doing is reading through the participants. You don't have to acknowledge that you're here because it does come up. But at the end, I'll ask for people that I have not read off or have not mentioned to please uh, make yourself known. Okay, very good. Brad Harris, Jason Stanton, Karen Chapman, Alan Pease, Alin Butland, Amanda Reed, Barbara Yoakum, Stacy Donahue, George Tilleton, excuse me if I butchered that, George Cahill, Glenn Eaton, myself, Guy Corbacero, Holly Ford, and Leo Jansen. Linda Quinlivan, Rebecca Merrill, Rick Ward, Robert Schwartz, and that fills out the list of participants. Did I miss anybody? If not, we'll move on to the next piece of number one is announcements. First announcement is accordance with Governor Baker's COVID-19 executive order regarding the open meeting law and remote participation. Votes will be taken through roll call. And I also have to mention that normally the contract status reports are attached to our agenda that you get. This time they're separated, so you did receive a separate handout, which is on the website, and you also received it in the email yesterday of July through September's in-depth contract status report. So it goes through each department, each item that the MRPC is dealing with, and this is what we do every 3 months. But now this has been passed out, and what if you have any questions, if you read this and said, what about this, what about that for my community, at the end of the presentation, we will go to each department, and that's where you can ask questions. And if you haven't read this, you can probably jump over as Glenn's given his dissertation. Okay, does anybody have any other announcements? If not, I'll move on. Next item is approval of September 8th, 2022 MRPC minutes. You were all sent those. Do we have any additions, subtractions, corrections on this? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for September 8th as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
That would
Second.
be Robert Schwartz and Jeff Tellison.
Guy, it's
Seconded.
Jeff Tillotson. Yes,
Jeff,
thank you.
okay, very good.
No worries.
Okay, thank you.
No,
My
thank you.
pronunciations are horrible, so please don't mind if I butcher your names, or please don't take offense. Okay, very good. So I will do this by roll call. Now, if I do call your name and you are not a member of the board, uh, just respond, not a member. Amanda Reed.
Aye.
Barbara Yoakum.
Question, Guy. I was
Yeah.
not at the meeting, but I did read the minutes. They were very thorough and very interesting. Can I vote on to accept even though I didn't attend?
No, I think you abstained, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody thinks I'm wrong, please correct me.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if you miss a meeting, you are allowed to vote on the minutes.
Okay, very good. We've always had that discussion every time you've come up with voting, but you're able to sign them, so that's a different way. Okay,
Okay.
very good. Barbara
Aye.
Yocum.
Aye.
Okay. Stacy Donahue. Stacy? If not, we'll move on to Jeff Tillotson.
Thank you. Aye.
Okay. Guy Corpusero, myself votes aye. Leo Jansen.
Aye.
Okay. Now, Rebecca Merrill, I think you're a visitor, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard correctly.
I am
Uh,
considered a visitor, so I'm not a voting member.
Okay, very good. And Robert Schwartz.
Aye.
Did I miss anybody on that?
Lynn Butland.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lynn.
It's okay. Aye.
Okay, so the minutes are accepted. Yes?
Yeah, Alan Pease, you missed me.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Alan.
And
How do you vote?
I'll abstain.
Okay. I see you there now. Yes, sorry. Okay, very good. So the minutes are accepted with one abstention. Okay, next item on the agenda is the cash schedule. Since our treasurer is not here, would you like to take this, Linda? Quinlivan?
Mr. Chairman, I'd love to.
Okay, be our pleasure.
Okay. Okay, so the opening balances from August 31st was $865,842.82. We had a total of cash receipts and transfers that equaled $130,376.72. So the total cash on hand for this warrant was $996,219.54. And then when we take out the cash disbursements of $147,796.31, it brings us the balance of $848,423.23. Anybody have any questions about anything?
Okay, no questions on that? If not, I'll
Mr.
entertain
Chairman,
yes, go ahead, Karen.
excuse me, Jason's just having problems. He froze up, so he left and he'll come back.
Okay, very good, thank you. Any questions on the cash schedule? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the cash schedule as presented, subject to audit.
So moved, Alan Pease.
Okay, very good,
Second.
and do I have a second?
Second, Bob Schwartz.
Okay, and it's seconded by Bob Schwartz. Any more discussions or questions? If not, I'll call the roll. Okay, let me start at my top here. Okay, we'll go down for Alan Pease,
Aye.
Lynn Butland,
Aye.
Amanda Reed,
Aye.
Barbara Yocum.
Aye.
I think Stacy Donahue text message that she's having problems, so I'll move on to Jeff Tillotson.
Aye.
Okay, let's see what I get here. Okay, I'm sorry, I've got more people down here. I am sorry, but my list here does not include everybody. Oh, who did I miss here?
They'd be interested in Oktoberfest, so that,
Jackie?
good.
Uh, Jackie Doherty, how do you vote? Jackie?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Anybody else
Aye.
I missed? Aye.
Leo Jansen's, I vote yes.
Okay, very good. Leo Jansen. Oh, I'm surprised why this does. I have to do it some other way. Anybody else I missed?
Bob Schwartz, yes.
Okay, very good. Boy, this is not working out well tonight. Okay, very good. And is that everyone? Okay, the cash schedule is accepted as presented, subject to audit. Next item on the agenda is, I'm sorry, I have to come down here, is guest announcements and questions. Actually, so George, do you have anything? KL.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any announcement at this time. Thank you.
Okay, very good. And we do have one guest. Um,
Rebecca
do you have
Merrill.
any? Very good. I'm sorry. You've dropped
Oh,
off my list here. Do you have anything you would like to say?
no, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, very good. That's guest announcement. And do you have any questions from anybody on things that are not on tonight's agenda? If not, we'll move on to administrative matters, and that's you, Glenn. And I just want to note that we do not have any resolutions tonight, so we won't need another vote unless Glenn is asking for one. Okay, it's all yours, Glenn.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any votes tonight, and we're gonna hit the highlights here. A lot of pictures, not a lot of words tonight. So we were very fortunate, and I just want to go on record by saying that we want to thank the United States Secretary of Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra, and Congressman James McGovern for coming to our facility in early September. And Secretary Becerra was at our office. We hosted an event what was put on by Growing Places and Heal Winchendon. Congressman McGovern made this happen. Congressman McGovern has always been hot on the issue of nutrition, food, and hunger. Food is medicine. And what the fact-finding tour that Becerra and McGovern did in our office with about 30 people early September led up to a White House conference, national conference that was held about a week and a half ago. And we had a watch party for that. And Jason, if you want to go down to the next page, 5.2. So the national conference was held basically from 9 to 5-ish. And if you want to go to the next page, Jason, there may be a picture of the people who were in attendance. And the Chennai 9 organization, Chelsea Patrice, and Eladia Romero and Ann Yeagle from Growing Places coordinated. We hosted some people to come in. So the photo you see there is us hosting the watch party. So we were basically satelliting in or YouTubing in to a national conference that was held down in D.C. on basically this administration, the Biden administration, saying nutrition, food, hunger, food is medicine is a priority for the administration. So we were able to be blessed by this cabinet secretary's visit and then be able to host a watch party on the very important issue. Drilling down, we have a contract that Karen Chapman is in charge of with her people to deliver planning services in the food hub development to Growing Places, Inc. And it's a very important conference. It's a very important issue. And I just wanted to highlight that and make sure that people were aware that it was pretty monumental for the MRPC to host a cabinet secretary. So credit to the staff. Half the staff were helping move furniture or setting up technology or hosting. Shout out to Holly specifically. She's our in-house party planner, and she coordinated, chairs and tables and tablecloths and food and so much. So thanks to Holly and all the staff that pitched in. So it's a huge help. Jason, could you page down a little bit more, please? We'll go to the next page, I think. And that this is just a picture of Chelsea. We were watching Becerra, where he was sitting 3 weeks earlier. We bought some technology. We bought a couple of 85-inch monitors, and we had one of those for the guests for the watch party. Jason, you can page down a little bit more, please, sir. And I think that's it on the nutrition conference. I've always wanted to make, just so you know, Glenn, why did you buy two 85-inch TVs? I've always wanted to make sure for the last 15 years that we've had the technology, because pre-COVID, I wanted to make sure that, we could basically communicate, have speakers Zoom in pre-COVID, and now it's all about, being online and hybrid meetings. So we have the tech right now that we're able to have basically a training center. I've always wanted to set up a training center for planners and local officials, and the technology was a part of that. We're doing fairly well this year in a cash position, decent number of contracts, and so on and so forth. Long story short, it's in the budget to buy technology, so it's not something out of budget. But this is an investment in our future, as we hopefully will be back handshaking one of these days, and we can be in the same room again, like with CPTC as an example. But from what I see, CPTC, Alan and Karen's doing pretty well with people zooming in. So, but I want to be prepared for the future. Hopefully when things get better, we can do that again. Let's see the next. So that was just a tech kind of a point. The next point, thanks, Jason. 5.3 North Central Mass Association of Realtors. There's a handout. I did a presentation about 2 Fridays ago to the North Central Mass Association of Realtors, hitting the highlights of, what MRPC does and how we can help them in their everyday work. One sip of ginger, I'll be right with you. There is online, mrpc.org, for tonight's meeting. There is obviously, as there is every month, a section for the handouts. And if you go to the handouts and you want to see these documents from the presentation, but I brought a lot of data to the realtors to help them. And I plugged, and you're going to hear more about this, but I put in a plug for the tiny homes, tiny housing wave to provide housing products that are affordable, somewhat smaller than the normal McMansions, quite smaller than the normal McMansions, but that are affordable to people. And I will close this presentation on talking to the realtors by saying, on staff, we have about 16 people, and we have 3 people that might be looking. I know one is, and they're all 20-somethings. And we have 4 of the 20-somethings that are relatively new staff. And I know one of them's been looking for a home. And I won't mention names, because that's not cool to do, but he's been looking, and he found a tiny home on Hamilton Street, Leominster. It was gone within hours or a couple of days. And then at this realtor presentation I made, I mentioned tiny homes and how, we should have other products in the market for people. And the poor kid, he couldn't get the home, but the home was about $115,000 for a 400 or 500 square foot unit. And then one of the realtors emailed me the following day after my presentation. And so I looked at the listing, and it was a tiny home of 600 square feet in Westminster for $350,000. And I thought to myself, we've really got to do something. Had a few conversations with Karen about, we really, if we can do something about tiny housing, make it a mission of ours to try to do something. So you're going to hear more in the future, but Karen and I have had some great conversations. We're both pretty passionate about this issue, and I'm going to tell you all right now, because you're mostly planning board members and planners. MRPC, I would like to see MRPC create a tiny home model zoning bylaw or ordinance, maybe using our DLTA funds next year. And for those of you who are more familiar with our nonprofit affiliate, Montechusett Enterprise Center, Inc., if we can do something that creates some affordable housing on the tiny home scale, and they don't all have to be stick-built construction. They can be made of storage unit containers, and they can be made of 3D printed housing. There are a couple of articles in the handout section that are available tonight from the American Planning Association Planning Magazine, and I'd encourage you to look at those and Google the topic if you know nothing about it, or if you do, maybe you're a guest speaker in the future. So I think this is a really important issue, and I think MRPC is really going to take the lead on something like this. So that's all I really wanted to say about that. But thank you for listening. I think it's a very important issue for all of us to make sure the kids can stay where we want them to if they want to, and seniors can live in their own towns. Well, I'll close with that. Jason, could you go to the next item, please, sir? Which is what I just talked about. 5.4 was developing tiny homes zoning bylaw. So we can skip down to 5.5. Just some examples there that I mentioned. You can look at those later if you want to. Lunch and learns. So about 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, I put out a survey to about 281 local officials in our group email databases that we have at the office. And I'm not going to try to share a screen with Jason, but I do have the preliminary results about 48 hours. We've got 46 responses. And the gist here is there's only 4 questions. Question 1, if MRPC offered a lunch and learn series on which days of the month from noon to 1 p.m., would you most likely be able to attend? So some preliminary results, and I want to underscore preliminary results for all of you folks, because with 46 people out of 281 at a response rate of about 17%, I don't expect the responses to change that much, but there could be some changes. But the bottom line here is that Wednesday, right now, subject to change, could be a winner. It might be the first or second Wednesday of the month. And second question was, what topics are you looking for? So some of you that took this survey might want that feedback. And basically, the big 5 winners are updates on Holly. Thank you. Holly's texting me that I have a question from Jeff. I'm going to write there. Updates on recent passage of legislation, government grants, zoning issues, GIS, and updates on the MBTA communities. So there's just a couple highlights of that. And let me minimize all this garbage on my screen and get back to the meeting. And Mr. Chairman, would you recognize Guy while I try to get back to the meeting? I think Jeff, Guy, would you recognize
Yes,
Jeff?
Jeff, please go ahead with your question. The reason you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Eden, Glenn. I just wanted to say there is, and I don't know how to do this, and I know it's somewhat of an informal, but along the lines of tiny homes, there is a group called Strong Towns. You may know about strongtowns.org, which does a lot of work on this and other issues that we're seeing here in Ayer, a great many of them here in Ayer. I just wanted to point that out. They do some pretty good articles and stuff, and they get down in the weeds, and it's helpful. And believe it or not, the second item you had mentioned a moment ago, totally skipped my mind. I apologize, everybody, but it's been a long day. So, yes, I'm sorry. As a member of the Ayer Planning Board, may I offer the lunch and learns to the other members of my planning board? Because I think they would benefit from it.
Yes. If you have fellow local officials, that's the only requirement. All right. IBM doesn't need our survey in Sweden, but fellow local officials from your local government, we'd love to hear from everyone. Excuse me. Fire chief, planning board members, whomever. We'd love to hear from all of you on what's important to you. And you tell us what you need us to bring once a month from noon to 1, and then we'll do it. It's just that simple. And I'd like to start these in November. So, Jeff, yes, please share that around.
Then I will. I'll send it to at least the planning board here in town with those words. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you, Jeff. Great questions. And I'm all done with the survey. We'll. I put a deadline of next Friday. Now, I'll give you my secret. Every time I do a survey, I give people 10 days, about a week and a half. And then on like the Thursday or Friday of that, I say, okay, you got till Monday. But don't tell your friends that, okay? Tell them the deadline's really Friday. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Jason, would you be so kind as to go down to 5.6, please? So we are MRPC. We do economic development planning. I think it's important to be a member of all the 4 chambers. We are members. We are a member of all 4 chambers: Neshoba Valley, North Central, North Quabbin, and Greater Gardner. And the Neshoba Valley Chamber put out this executive roundtable program, and I applied to be able to participate, and my application was approved. So I get to sit around the table with CEOs from other organizations, and it's part self-improvement for me. It's some leadership training, and it's also peering in to see how other in the private sector, they call them CEOs, but how the CEOs are dealing with issues. And we had the first meeting about a week ago, and right away, it was beneficial for me. There's no cost. We're a member, and they just put this out there. So I'm happy to be across the table from a woman business-owned enterprise, 15, 20 years accounting firm, a civil engineering firm, number 2 with, I think, Ross Associates. and an IT person. He works for clients, I think nationally, maybe internationally. So it's a benefit to me. I hope to whatever I learn, I can take back and help improve my world, my job, my agency, and so on and so forth. A little parochial. Jason, if you want to go down to the next one, I'm done basically. I think, unless there was, I know there's a 5.7. It might have been an other, or I deleted it. I don't recall. And I'm done, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your time. Thank you all.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Glenn. Any questions of Glenn before I move on? If not, we'll move on to section 6, department updates. Now the status report is out there, is up. So if you have any questions on that, as I hit each department, this is the time to speak up. And the 6.1 is the geographic information systems, which Jason Stanton is head of. Do you have anything on this, Jason?
I don't have any additional information to provide.
Okay, very good. Any questions of Jason?
On behalf of AIR, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. On behalf of
Jeff,
AIR, this
go
is
ahead.
Jeff Tillotson. I'm currently the clerk of the planning board, but I was also 5 years chair. Thank you for all your work on this GIS. This is great stuff, Jason. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and I've actually gotten to know Linda McQuaid pretty well. I know she's new in town, so I've been helping her out, getting used to the Mr. Mapper system and trying to help her sort of automate some of the tasks that she does on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you for that comment, Jeff. Next item is 6.2, planning and development. Karen Chapman, do you have anything on this?
I just have one announcement. I sent out an email today about the first in the Citizen Planner Training Collaborative. They have trainings every fall for planning and zoning boards, and I sent out an email to all of you today. The first class is out, and I hope the schedule of the rest of the classes will be out so I can send it all to you. But I recommend planning board and zoning board members attend as many of these as you can. They're virtual, so you don't have to drive all over the state, and I think it's only $20 to take the course, and it's really valuable information. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Karen. Any more questions of Karen? If not, we'll move on to transit and transportation. Brad, do you have anything
Yes.
on this?
Nothing more to add than what's in the status report, just that we are now started our new program year, which begins October 1st. It goes with the federal fiscal year. So we've started the program year we approved the last Unified Planning Work Program. Also, there's a graphic in there of a traffic count from Boston Data Systems. They're part of Amos Engineering, and they were the contractor we hired to do our traffic counts this past summer. And it turned out exceptionally well, I think. We were able to get all the 60 odd locations counted, and they did it in about 2.5 months. So we're going to look forward to maybe trying to do this again next year. And outside of that, that's all I have.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Jason. Next item on the agenda. Any questions of Jason before I move on? Not hearing any. The next item is new business. Does anybody have any new business they'd like to bring before the MRPC? Not hearing anything. Any other comments? And this brings us to adjournment. And in keeping with small meetings, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Bob Swartz.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Second, Alan Pease.
Okay, very good. Do I have anybody objecting to adjourning? Not hearing any, I call this meeting adjourned at 7:34 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too, Jason. You're gonna